Testing. All right, Frank. Sorry for the delay on this video. I think it's just easier if I make a video so you can see first person what I'm talking about. Let's start first with some really good things that I saw in your gameplay. Let's see. Oh, I really liked how you put up a lot of fast builds. So like if you notice somebody in the distance with an op shining at you, your first reaction was to throw up a build. Or if someone was shooting at you, to quickly switch to your builds. That's usually a thing people can usually work on. You got that down pretty good. I liked when you were moving through zone, you're grabbing sodas, taking, not just using your inventory. That was good. Let's see, using zone, I don't know what I meant by that. Okay, let's get to the things that I noticed I could see you need some work on. First things first, I don't know if you have an organization in your wheel here for your weapons. For me, I have my close range, primary, and long range, all three here. And down here I will put like a banana. This is my banana spot, and these two are usually just shakers. That's usually what I do because I do a lot of opping. I have a lot of heals, so I keep my my shotgun or my close range right to my right. So when I'm playing, I could just flip over and I flip to my thing. I just pull my hand straight across to the right, and that puts me right back on my weapon of choice for close range. So, for example, you could be shooting at someone, flip, and then you just flip it to your right. Same thing with the op. Op is straight ahead because it's like my long range, so I could be shooting this over here, and then switching to my op just by going forward. So I would highly recommend you organize if you're not already doing that. And then when you're playing, you don't want to look, you don't want to stare and look at the thing. You just want to, it's all about the flicks. And while you're playing the game, you'll see like a lot of streamers, they do that kind of this stuff while they're moving. And they're just basically just like practicing switching between their guns. And so there's no waste of time. Even when you're just doing pubs, you're just like, people are just doing this constantly. It's almost like a little tick too. It's like kind of just like out of boredom. Like you see people do that. So that's a quick way that you can start practicing switching between. Just as you're playing the game, as you're just doing your pubs or whatever, you're just kind of flipping through. Okay. If you really want to put some use to that, you can come over here and you can practice like shooting like a thing. And flipping over to your stuff. Just kind of cycling through your weapons like that and kind of putting yourself into different scenarios. But the shotgun one is really key because you'll be doing stuff like this, and all of a sudden someone come here, and then boom, you're ready to go just like that. So you're easily switching over without having to take that time to like look over and switch the weapons. So that's a big one. Let's see what else I put down here. A lot of it is just kind of movement for you. You stay in the same spot a lot, and it makes it very predictable. That's really hard to kind of to show you because each situation is different. But I noticed you kind of hang out wherever you're shooting, and you kind of don't move a lot. Like it's very predictable during your mid-range or close battle where you're going to be. And so I'd really like to see you kind of move around. So like as you're, I don't know, it's really hard to explain because you just have to see it, like I guess in action. Like so if we were shooting somebody here, we'd be like shooting and we'd be thinking about, how can we get around on this guy over here? And how can we get a different angle on him? Something like that, and just kind of never staying in the same spot, and you're always just moving around. Something like that, you know what I mean? Just kind of always moving. Or for example, let's say, this guy was our target over here, and he's putting builds up, we're shooting at him. We're gonna use the wall here, and like kind of, Get a little closer, and now we got a great spot. We're peeking over here, and we're moving on them. We're getting around on them. You're just kind of getting different angles instead of just kind of stay in one spot. You kind of move over on people, and you try to gain different position on them. Stuff like that. It's kind of hard to explain, but I saw you kind of just stay in one spot the whole time. It's not good. You got to keep moving. If you're, and I don't mean to say you always have to be like super aggressive, but as I'm not always like that. But if you're moving and you're being mildly aggressive, you get to pick the scenario, instead of just watching somebody rotate around on you and then you're like, oh shit, what do I do? You get to pick. Oh, there's hard cover over here. I'm gonna come over to this spot and start shooting at the person, something like that. And people keep coming in. All right, let's look at the list. I recommend you build right after you kill somebody. So if somebody's stuff is down, you just kill them. Boom, 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 boom. I can't build in here, but boom, boom, boom. You build a box around you, or at least throw up a scenario while you go pick up all your shit. Okay. Some multitasking can be improved when you're in a fight and you lose some of your shield as you're moving. Let's say you're moving along the wall, you're trying to get a better position on him. You should be moving with one arm and shaking with the other. That way you can be getting your heals back up. Shaking and moving, and then you're always just like quick to move to that shaker. And if you know where it is, you just get right over to it. So that's another thing you could be kind of using. Let's see here. Get my shit back because it disappeared. And just basically kind of your weapon choice is also a little confusing to me as well. You sometimes carry what I consider dual weapons. So like for me, I kind of already explained. I organize, right? So here's my organization. I have the close range. I require a close range. I hate being without a close range. And I'm talking, my close range of choice is the DT. And it's a pretty intimidating gun. Here are other options for close range. Honestly, the MP9 is a good choice. The P90 if you're not into shotguns. But really the M10, you can rock the M10. M10's a good gun. All you have to do is just pull down on the trigger and you're going to do some damage with it. The Tech 9, also viable. Obviously, we're not going to really talk about those because you know how to use them. If you don't, it's just sitting here at the training spot and, getting used to them. Let me talk about the P9. MP9 is kind of an interesting gun because it honestly does a shit ton of damage up close. I mean, it almost when you get up we're gonna say a shotgun range. This thing is putting 26s out. That's crazy right now. And you've got a magazine of 28. If you're finding that you're having trouble up close with people, I recommend this gun just because you can just pull it and shoot. It's got a laser. It's strong as hell up close, but it sucks at mid-range. This mid-range points are this is garbage compared to your other guns. I'm getting 19s and 20s, and this one here is 9s, so it's significantly different. I wouldn't recommend it for that, but it's a unique option. I see that you like to run the MK. MK is. I consider the MK a long-range, mid-range gun. So a good option for you would be something like this, and then you can free up another spot to carry some nades or whatever. So you have a close quadrant gun. It can also be used as a secondary, as like a shotgun almost. And it frees up an extra spot. I'll sometimes do that. I'll run the especially if it's a good one, I'll run it down here, and sometimes I'll just run an op, and it frees up a space for like a harm or something else if I need that extra, if I want to carry something. But that's not typically my go-to. I like to carry a shotgun just because that's my go-to. But like if you're carrying an MK, you can make a great argument to not really. I mean, you could keep it here, but honestly, if you're carrying that, don't carry an op. I mean, I don't know unless you really want to, but it's kind of like a long-range weapon. You definitely wouldn't want to carry this and like a FAL. I mean, you're trying to choose between the two weapons. They're both long mid-range, so try not to carry the same type of weapon. Otherwise, you're just carrying multiple of the same thing, and it's wasting a spot for something else. So I kind of noticed that sometimes we were carrying some duplicate weapons in my mind. Let's see this. The other option with this combination here, and I know you like to use a sword. I don't like the sword. I feel like you have to get too close to somebody, and I try never to be that close to somebody. Even with the DT, I'm gonna keep my distance. I'm not gonna, like, if I think you're around this corner here, I'm gonna come over here, or I'm gonna come over the top of you and be ready to back up and kind of do that thing. So the sword does get me sometimes, but I just don't find it that useful. It's nice to run fast, but we have sprint now, and if you improve your movement, you don't really need the sword. That's my opinion. The only other thing I was thinking about, we can talk a little bit about your reloads on your op. I see you do this big flip back thing here. The fastest way to reload the op after you shoot the op is just if you just grab and flick to the side. This is the fastest way. That's the fastest way to reload the op. You just literally, you hit here, and then your arm just goes like that, and then you're right back to where you want to go again. And then my final reload is the same thing. It's the less one, and then it's just an L. Okay. And those are called. I don't know if you know how to quick scope. It's all the kids are doing it. It's a good thing to learn. Once you learn that sideways, the flick out, but it should help you like kind of improve your shooting speed. God, this guy with this M60 right now is driving me insane. All right, so you come in here, you do the flick out. The thing I would say is I wouldn't spend too much time doing the quick scope stuff. It takes a long time to be like really accurate with it. It's nice to do, but what I would do is I would encourage you to, when you do your first shot, you're lined up. So if you learn that quick, you should be able to come right back to where you're at and at least get those. Just try for the quick scope on the second one, because oftentimes if you can get that second shot off right away, you can kill the person before they're able to build. If you do one of these where you're taking your time and trying to get in the head, they're going to put up builds and then you're done. So I don't mind, especially if they don't know that you're shooting at them, for the first one to take your time and do it, but then the second one, try to just get it off real quick. So it's something to work on. Server. It depends on your ping too. You kind of have to slow down if your ping is a little higher. And also, again, I tell everybody the same thing. I don't give two shits about accuracy stats and or how much bullets you're shooting. Like, when you look at my op stats, I'll probably have like 80 to 100 shots in the 5 games. And my accuracy is anywhere from 25 to 17%. Which is a little bit more than that usually, but we'll just say it's like 25%. But that's okay, because if I can put off 4 bullets in 5 seconds, I'm gonna get 25. I'm gonna get 70 damage, maybe more, 117 if it's a 1-star and I get a headshot. So. The other advantage to just quickly shooting, not taking too much time aiming. Again, this is different. If you see somebody like running out in the open and they're just like running flat and straight, sure, take your time and line up and then shoot them in the head. But if they're actively shooting you and you're fighting with them, you have to take quicker shots because they can see your flash now. And as an opper, you come up, you can't move you can't do the shimmy while you're zoomed in. So the longer you're zoomed in, the longer you're just standing still. So instead, I would prefer when you come up, even if you miss, you're moving around, you'll eventually get it, and who cares, there's oftentimes there's 3 other people in our, especially with the Legion, 3 other people, they're not using the op, they can drop you more ammo, it doesn't cost you anything to miss, so what, it's just ammo, there's unlimited ammo in the game, you just keep moving around, keep finding it, but as soon as you stop and stay still, now you're taking damage, now you're wasting your shakers, now they're getting points, so, and then you can still compete with oppers that are better than you, that are faster than you. Why? Because you're shooting as fast as them. They're going to be much more accurate, but you're not giving them an opportunity, to just get that free shot on you. So that's something to do too. Always be moving. I think I saw you moving pretty good when you're like strafing. When you're shooting, you never want to be standing still. You always want to be moving, mixing it up. You never want to be out in the open. You always want to try to come up and like peek on things if you can. Always doing the peek stuff and then moving and then moving and then moving. And we're getting closer, build. And then we're, using this hard cover. And then we're on this side. We're over here, we're building our way. We're peeking our own builds, We're just always moving, never looking in the same spot, Just always moving, because what happens is the lower level players, they'll just hyper focus on where you, let's say you came out right here, they'll just be hyper focused, just kind of like this, just hyper focused, and all of a sudden you pop your head up right here, and then as they're coming up, and now they're dead, so you just always want to be moving. That's tenfold for snipers. If you are going against a sniper and you're doing the peek thing at them, your head is exposed, so what you want to do is, it's always a good tip to grab your gun hand and just put it in front of your face. It acts as a hit marker, and so when they try to shoot you in the face and get a headshot, they'll get just a body shot. So if you can kind of keep your hand, in front of your face a little bit when you're shooting, your hit marker will be your hand and not your face. However, if I'm an opper,
hold on. Do this if you can hear me. I can talk. Can you hear me? Yes. Okay.
But also as an opper, if I know you're behind there, and I take a shot at your head, I'm going to be just waiting for you. So if you don't peek in the same spot, you want to peek somewhere over here or right there, somewhere different around the side. So I can't just sit here, wait for you to pop your head out and hit that gun again. You know what I mean? And with that being said, let's say we're having that kind of thing right here. So, let's say I initially shoot at you. Now you want to move around. You never want to take more than a couple shots in one spot with an opper. You want to always be kind of moving, build. Stuff like that. You never want to peek the same spot. You also never want to peek the corners. If I'm up on the hill and I'm an opper and I see you come into this area, I'm going to just look right in this corner. That's where 99% of the time it's just going to go like this. They're just going to put their head up here. That's just, no one's ever going to do it back here. They love the corners, and so they're just going to pop their head up. And they're just going to be like, oh, where's everyone at? And then you're already aiming right for their forehead. So that's also another little tip. Oh, I think that's about it for now. The only other thing, like I said, is really just movement. Yeah. Not walking on the ground.
Sure.
It's kind of gotten a little easier to do so because we have the sprint now. But back in the day, we didn't have the sprint, and so instead of ground walking here, This takes a long time, right? It's slow. You're out in the open. What you would do instead is you would pick up and fly, grab and fly, grab, flick and fly, like that. You would always, be doing stuff like this. Even on the edges, you're trying to like go off the edge and make it fly, and don't walk. Everything is about flying in this game. It's faster. Everything is faster. This is how you can get rid of that sword if you don't want to be resilient on it, just for carrying it for speed, because you can, like, even like these things, you're always just flying. It's faster, and you're always near something. It's hardcover. So a lot of times, if I want to get over there or whatever, these are a bad example of stuff I would use, but you would use things around you to make it go there faster. In fact, sometimes the fastest way isn't a straight line. It's like doing these weird patterns and never being out in the open. That's a lot of new people that just run out. I need to go over there. I'm going to go straight for it, and they're out in the open when really they should be thinking about getting up top here. If I want to go over there to get in a fight, I'm going to come up here. I don't know what's going on with my controllers right now. I'm just flicking. I'm coming over here. I'm moving along. And now I'm over where I want to shoot, and always looking at using objects to get somewhere a little bit faster, and that's kind of the name of the game. They added that. So anyways, that's what I'll say about that. Just kind of movement. I'll try to look at some of your other videos and kind of show you. I remember there was one where you were it was the Phoenix one, and you were fighting somebody in a building, and you knew that you had like MP5 or something like that, and they were like in the building, so you were climbing up, and then you went through the windowway, and then we're out in the open just shooting at this guy, when really the better option would have been to climb up, peek through the window, and then just start shooting at the guy down the hallway, and then stay outside the building. Once you get in the building, you're kind of stuck in there. If you would have stayed outside, or if you would have hit him really well and needed to go after him to finish him off, you could do that. Or you were on like the side over here, and you were shooting through the window, you could move around the building and go peek in another window and be like, and you can work your way towards him, and you're outside the building and you're kind of protected. You're not just inside where he can throw nades. And now you have to try to traverse all the nades, stuff like that. Just kind of moving around, not staying in the one spot. You were kind of just watching him in the hallway, and he was peeking out, and you were peeking out, but your whole body is just exposed. You always want to try to keep your body behind things, and then peeking on the right is a little bit easier to do than peeking on the left. Peeking on the left is difficult, and you don't want to be out here like this, because then your whole body's exposed. Now, you can't really hide your body.
Oh, damn, you can't just touch me like that.
As soon as you pull out, it will be exposed.
I know, but
here like this,
I have
which is why it's better to go
ears.
over the top.
That scared the shit out of me. You just touched
Or
me.
you can pull down a little bit
Don't
and
touch me. I'm scared.
sink into the ground here.
Don't touch
and you have less of your body
What are you
showing.
doing
See
down
how
in
I'm
the ground like that?
See, this guy knows.
What are you doing in the ground? Oh,
See?
hello.
Down like this, and now you have a smaller hitbox area here.
That's pretty cool. Gun.
Yeah. See, stuff like that.
Can you hear me? Yo,
anyways.
JWB5K. Can you hear me? You can hear me?
Anyways, that's it.
Thank you. Okay. Wow.
We'll talk more.